Unit 6, Lesson 53, Unreal Conditionals, Alternatives to If. We learned that when we make conditional sentences, we have to use if. Today, we are going to learn alternatives to if. In other words, we are going to learn how to make sentences without using if. Okay, so we are going to replace if, right? So if can be replaced by words or expressions with a similar meaning. The most common are, as long as, I'll tell you what really happened, as long as you keep the secret. So instead of saying, I'll tell you what really happened if you keep the secret, as long as you keep the secret, okay? So I'm replacing if with as long as, okay? Assuming that Chelsea loses tomorrow, the manager will be looking for a new job. Okay, so if Chelsea loses tomorrow, the manager will be looking for a new job. So assuming that, all right? On condition that they will speak to the press on condition that they remain anonymous sources. Okay? They will speak to the press if they remain anonymous sources. All right? Provided that I'll lend you the money, provided that you pay me back next month. Okay? On condition, as long as, if. Okay? Supposing that I got a job, I wouldn't be able to travel with you next summer. Unless it rains, I'm going swimming tomorrow, okay? When you hit ice, it melts, okay? If you hit ice, it melts. When you hit ice, it melts. In case, I will take some painkillers in case I'm in severe pain. I will take some painkillers if I am in severe pain, all right? So we can replace if by using all of these expressions here. All right? Beautiful? Okay. Write them down in your notebook and start using them. 2, omitting if. Sometimes you can omit, we don't replace it, we just omit it, okay? And this is very advanced English inversions. At the end of the book, we are going to see more inversions in English, right? Make sure you use it, because the more inversions you use, the more complex, the more advanced is your English, all right? First conditional. If you need, or if you should need my advice becomes, should you need my advice, don't hesitate to call me, okay? Instead of if you should need my advice, should you need my advice, don't hesitate to call me. This is extremely used in business English when you conclude emails, okay? For example, should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. If you have any questions, should you have is more elegant. Should you have any questions? All right? It's more complex, more advanced. Should you have, should you need me, just give me a call. All right? That's omitting if. There's no if here in the first conditional, right? Second conditional, okay? For unreal situations. Do you remember? Second conditional for unreal situations. Were you my daughter, I would teach you a good lesson. You are not my daughter, but were you my daughter? I can say, if you were, if I were a boy, do you know? But here is, were you? Were you a boy? Were you my daughter? Okay, or daughter? All right? So I am omitting the if here. Were you my daughter? I would teach you a good lesson, okay? Were they Brazilians? They could run for president. Okay? Were they Brazilians? They could run for president, but they are not Brazilians. So they cannot run for president, right? And the third case, the third conditional about the past, okay? Had I known that, I wouldn't have bought this smartphone, okay? Instead of, if I had known that, okay? If I had known that. I remove if, and then I invert. That's why it's called inversion, because I take had and put had at the beginning of the sentence, okay? So had goes at the position of if. Had I known that, I take had and put it at the beginning of the sentence. Had I known that, I wouldn't have bought this smartphone, okay? All right? So, should you have, first conditional. Were you my daughter? Were they Brazilians? Second conditional. And third conditional, had I known that, okay? Another example. Had I had a baby when I was at university, my life would have been much harder, okay? Had I had a baby, okay? If I had, or had I had, okay? I'm omitting the if. Not necessary to use if to make conditional sentences, all right? Beautiful. Now we are going to practice. We are going to match the columns, okay? On the left, we have the first sentence, and then on the right, we have the second sentence. So we are going to match these sentences together. Take your time, right? And after you do that, we are going to correct them together. And then we have letter B. You're going to fill in the gaps with the correct option here, right? So yeah, let's start from this one. Press pause now and match the columns. Now, 1. Should you change your mind? Should you change your mind? Please don't hesitate to contact me. Okay, should you change your mind? Please don't hesitate to contact me. 2. Were they to buy a new house? Were they to buy a new house? They would need to sell the old one first. Number 2. Were they to buy a new house? They would need to sell the old one first. 3. Had you participated in the contest? Had you participated in the contest? You could have, no. You could have won the first prize. Number 3. Jesus Christ. 3, okay, right? Had you participated in the contest, you could have won the first prize. 4. Had John come to the office? Had John come to the office? He could have done the task, okay? Had John come to the office? He didn't, but had he come, so 4, he could have done the task. 5. Had we reached on time? Had we reached on time? We could have met you. Okay, we could have met you. Number 5. 6. Were we to announce the truth? Were we to announce the truth? We would receive a lot of criticism. We would receive a lot of criticism. Okay. 7. Unless I phone you, you can assume the train is on time. Okay. Number 7. You can assume the train is on time. 8. You can play in the living room. You can play in the living room. As long as you don't make a mess. As long as you don't make a mess. Number 8. 9. Had Noah come on time, had Noah come on time, he would not have missed the flight. 10. Had I been there, 10. Had I been there, I could have helped you. I could have helped you. 10. I could have helped you. 11. Should you find the answer? Should you find the answer? Please let me know as soon as possible. Please let me know as soon as possible. 11 here. 12. Supposing that you lost your passport, you'd have to go to the embassy. 12 here. 13. In case I forget later, in case I forget later, here are the keys to the garage. 13. When we heat water to 100 degrees, when we heat water to 100 degrees, it boils. 14. Next, had I been to the art gallery yesterday, I could have seen your painting. 15. Had I been to the concert, I could have enjoyed your performance. 16. I could have enjoyed your performance. Had Megan been a little bit sensible, she could have understood it. 16. Beautiful. No, 17, sorry. 17. 16 is here. Yeah. 18. I will lend you my car. I will lend you my car on condition that you have it washed. 18. 19. Had you not been spendthrift, spend a lot of money, you could have saved some money for the rest of the month. 19 here. And 20. Should you need any information, you know where to contact us. 20. Okay? Do you agree? All correct? Beautiful. Let's move forward. Letter B. Fill in the gaps. Fill in the gaps. So this one I'm going to put it here. B. 1. If he jobs, he would be a lot happier. Okay? If he changed jobs, he would be a lot happier. Would, here I have to use past, second conditional. Do you remember that? Past. So if he changed jobs, he would be a lot happier. So one letter B. 2. If I were you, I would tell her. Okay? If I were you, I would tell her that I love her. Okay? If I were you, I would tell her. 2 letters C. 3. Even if he, them, they wouldn't have agreed to come. So even, third conditional, talking about the past, they wouldn't have agreed to come. So even if he had asked them, they wouldn't have agreed to come. 3 letter A. 4. If she hadn't threatened him, okay, if she hadn't threatened him, third conditional, he wouldn't have left. He wouldn't have left. 4 letter E. 5. I him if I were you. Okay? If I were you, I wouldn't trust him. 5 letters C. Second conditional. 6. There wouldn't have been so many problems. There wouldn't have been, talking about the past, so many problems if they had organized the race a bit better. Okay, letter B. 7. We lost if you had asked for directions. Okay, in the past, had asked. We wouldn't have got lost or gotten, doesn't matter. Got or gotten. Got American, gotten British. We wouldn't have got or gotten lost, right? 7, letter A. 8. We would never have met if you hadn't introduced us to each other at that party. We would have never met if you hadn't introduced us. Okay? 8, letter B. 9. If she had embarrassed me in front of all of my friends, I would have hated her forever. I would have hated her forever. So 9, letter B. And number 10. Her life, if I had paid more attention. More or closer. More or closer. You can pay more attention or you can pay closer attention. Okay? I could have saved, missing a D here, missing a letter D here. I could have saved her life if I had paid closer attention. Okay, now 10, letter A. All right, beautiful. I hope there's no questions about the conditionals, especially the alternatives to if. They are extremely used in English, especially in advanced English. Make sure you got it and start using it. Start replacing if sentence. I know you're going to have fun because it's really cool when you use conditionals, when you create conditional sentences and we don't use if. All right? And I see you in the next lesson for listening. See ya.